Hey folks, Ken here. How you doing? Just an update on the ponds and treatments and so forth. Um, Lilies are actually doing well. I just PP'd that last night. I haven't had the waterfall on. I think I will just turn it on. So I PP'd it. I'm just gonna drain it down, vac it, and top it up again. I've a bit of some of these fertilizer tablets I'll stick in for the lilies, although they're doing fine. They do like stagnant water, I find. They do better in that, which is not nice to look at, than they do when it's part of the pond and turning over. But anyway, so I'm going to vac that out. The ponds, just a reminder what I did. Um, I did a PP, then I did a full dose. Well, I did about 110% dose of um, Lernex Pro just to allow for the trickle in and stuff like that. Then the second day I did a half dose, and the third day I did a half dose. And then I left it, and in each dose, so on the big dose, the first dose, I left the filter off for about 6 hours, had the spin drifter running just to make sure it absolutely dissolved, and did 3 hours for each of the following 2 days for the half doses. I didn't bypass the drum. Most people don't. Didn't see the need. It does dissolve fully when you give it time. I also turned off the trickle tower. Just turned it on for about a minute, morning and evening, just to keep the media wet. Some theories about the trickle towers stripping out medication. I don't know whether it's a red herring or not. I tried it. Bottom line is, fish are still flashing. Really frustrating. What I will do is pull a couple out and scrape them, particularly the big Carrigashoy. He's not there at the moment. He's moping a bit. He's flashing a fair bit. So, and I know by looking at them, you can see the dorsals flicking and they're jittery. Besides the flashing, they're just not great. Now, they're eating like mad. They're in good form otherwise, so it's not an absolutely critical situation. So what I did was I was going to wait until the BKKS show, which I'm going over to at the end of now this month. It's into June. But I was just thinking that probably bringing bags of white powder back on the plane is not a great idea. First of all, I think I want it before then. I'm not going to wait 4 weeks. Second of all, I don't want to pay £120 at the show for treatments and then have it taken off me at the airport. So I decided just to order. However, most, if not all, places seem to be out of stock at the moment. That's hopefully a good sign, because everything I've read about Flukex has been positive. So it's on back order, so it could be a couple of weeks before I get it. But you know what? Just give the fish a break. I'm not one for just dumping in treatment after treatment. So I'm going to clean down the ponds, get the back piece working, take out a few of the dead bits of the lilies, put a bit of fertilizer in, top that up, do my bottom drain, flush, and definitely vac the bottom of the pond. But it is so frustrating. I said before, the main thing I want to do and I need to do is move fish on. I wanted to do it last year. I couldn't because of all the problems, and I can't do it this year. Obviously I'm being very public, both within the koi community in Ireland online and here, that have problems, and I wouldn't anyway pass this on to somebody else. I don't know what, there's some sort of nuclear strain of fluke that I and others can shift. And you talk to the dealers and they say, well, we're not seeing it from Japan, it's we just give a treatment and it's done. But for some reason, somewhere, and I haven't taken fish from anybody in a long time, only very trusted sources even before that. But in the last 2 years, I've bought fish from one dealer, and I know it's not that dealer because nearly everybody in Ireland buys from that person, and not everybody is having this problem. So it's something that I brought into my pond. I don't know where, but anyway, it's there. But the other thing, as I mentioned before, is the cost. I paid between Fluke Solve, which knocked them back, but they came back again, Lernex and Lernex Pro. I've probably spent about, say, close to €400, and now I've ordered Fluke X, so I'm well over €500. Just trying to shift this one problem. So it is very, very frustrating. Just check this pump, it's slowed down. It's the thing has fallen down. I'll put it back up. But anyway, that's the update. So as I go through, I may scrape a couple of fish. If I can get that big Caragashoi out, I will give them a scrape and see what's there. You know, there is a risk as well. I don't go treating. Last year when I thought I cleared the fluke, although thinking back on it, I probably didn't, I ended up with Chiladanella and I ended up with Costi as well. So although they're flashing again, I'm not going to make the assumption it's still fluke. I will scrape and make absolutely sure it's not now something else, because it's not unusual to treat for fluke, still have flashing, and then it turns out to be something else that's just been opportunistic because of the fluke or because of the treatment that's got in. So I will double check that. I can't see the Caragashoi. He's there somewhere. He's down the bottom there. You can just see him. He's a bit mopey. He's eating. He's all right. I've seen worse, but he's a bit mopey. So listen, I will probably swing back to you as I go through the day and do bits and pieces. But that's the update. Doesn't appear to have been a success. I really did think with the Lernex and, you know, the treatment regime, it would do the trick, but it doesn't appear to have done so. So I will swing back to you shortly. Cheers. Right, just a quick update on the last video. So I've done my bottom drain flush, gave it a good filter clean. I also gave, I'll just show you now, the drum had got very yellowy, so I gave it a good clean. So what I do is, I think it's still on, let me turn it off. A bit of brick acid. This isn't Wildenolene, so I have some brick acid I got, and I spray that on and just agitate it in with a brush. I think I got this in Halfords. It's a wheel cleaning brush or something. It's nice and soft. Just agitate it in, and then I used my battery operated pressure washer that I showed you before and cleaned it down, and it came up very nice, just like new. So I didn't think it needed it, to be honest, because I only changed both screens. God, it's probably February though, you know, and they went yellow. And anyway, gave it a good clean, gave the filter a good clean after the medication, gave the pond a vac, cleaned around it, took the Caragashoi. So I mentioned the Caragashoi was flashing last night, and I noticed this morning, so I took them out. There's no doubt with shags and Caragashoi, they're very accommodating when you're scraping. There was no problem whatsoever, barely splashed me. So I got 4 good scrapes off them: belly, gills, backside. Absolutely nothing on it, so very happy with that. Possibly a bit early to tell, but you know, there's possibly residue of medication still in the pond or something, and there was a fair bit put in along with a PP that's just agitating. Found plenty of what looked like dead fluke, you know, in pieces that look as though they've been in a car crash or something, but nothing that was moving under its own steam, whether it be Costia, Chiladanella or fluke. So happy with that. So I'll keep you posted. So I will leave it there. It's nearly a day at it. I generally, you know, I'd say probably twice a year I do this screen on the drum clean. So I was at it. I just drained it right down and gave it a good scrub with a brush and a clean and a vac. Again, you know, usually I clean the drum in a half an hour, if even that, but a bit more today. The pond, it's a windy day. I'll just go out and show you. Probably won't hear me, but get away from that point. It's still topping up there, but there's an awful lot of crap blowing in. Just gave them a little bit of food. They are mostly eating it while the skimmer doesn't rub it on them. But yeah, the water's going to be a bit cloudy. I cleaned around the edges as much as I can. There's an awful lot of calcification in my pond. You just can't get off, and to be honest, I'm not too bothered about it. I will top up the rest of the back maybe later on if that fully tops up, and turn on the waterfall. But other than that, any comments or ideas, let me know. But kind of happy with that caricature because definitely thinking that was fluke. It doesn't look like it, so I'll just keep an eye. Maybe a little bit of a water change, and I might do another one maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. Just taking the last of the medication out might settle them down. If it does, brilliant. I have Fluke X on order. It won't go to waste, I'm sure. If I don't need it now, I'll need it at some stage in the future, so I'll have it anyway. You don't want to be going ordering these things when you feel you need them. It's always good to have them there. All right, leave it at that. Cheers.